We recently took a road trip to New Mexico, and I have been cleaning up the transactions from that trip to put them into the travel and vacation category. And so I want to show you a couple of different ways that you can organize your travel and vacation spending inside of Monarch. There are a couple of different ways to do this. There is no one right way to do it or one best way to do it. I think the best way is the one that works best for you, the one that makes sense for your brain. And so I'll show you a couple of different ways, and this is probably not even going to be the only ways that you could do it. There are probably many more ways because Monarch is so flexible. But let's just jump right in right now, and I'm going to show you those different ways. So for me personally, I keep it really simple. All of my spending that happens when I am on a trip goes into one category, the travel and vacation category. And that works for me because I'm okay with not seeing the breakdown of how much did I spend on food when I was on the vacation? How much did I spend on lodging when I was on the vacation? I don't feel like I need to know those numbers. And when I thought about when would I ever need to go back and track that, I couldn't think of a situation where I would really need that. And if I did, it's pretty easy to filter by the dates to figure that information out. So for me, I'm okay putting everything into that travel and vacation category, but that doesn't work for everyone. So I want to show you a couple of different ways to do it. So some people like to leave their travel and vacation spending inside of the original categories. So let's just pretend as if like went on a vacation, you stopped at Walmart and you did a little bit of shopping. Maybe you bought some groceries there. And so this, I just said groceries, so I'm gonna change it to groceries. So let's say you bought some groceries there. So you might leave that in the groceries category, but you might add a tag to show that it is specifically for travel. So in order to do that, you could come over here. Excuse me. And then if it doesn't already exist, you could create that category. I've already created one. So let's say all of my travel spending that is on food is going to go into this travel food tag. So I'm going to select this travel food tag, and let's say this trip was my New Mexico road trip 2025. So if I wanted to create a tag for that, you can do that as well. You can identify what was the specific trips you took so that you can go back and run reports for that if you ever needed to. So I'm going to select both of these and then save that. Okay, so now this Walmart spending, it was groceries, but it also has the tag of being for food for traveling and for the New Mexico road trip. So you might use tags in that way, and you might have a couple of different tags. You might have a travel airfare tag or a travel transportation tag that includes any airfare, rentals, Ubers, all of that is done on travel. And you would just add a tag to those specific ones, and they would still stay in their normal category, whatever you deem these things as being categorized as. And then when you come back from your trip, you can either set up rules or you can just go and, like right now, I just selected edit multiple so that I can grab a couple of these. So let's say this Airbnb and the Kroger groceries, the gas, just grabbing some random things, Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm going to choose those and then edit all four. And then I'm going to add my tags to them. So I want to say that all of these were the New Mexico road trip. And then I'm just going to save it. I'm not going to put all of these as the travel food because some of these were not. And then I'll just hit apply to all. And then I can see each one of those transactions now has that New Mexico road trip added to it. And then I can do the same thing for any, whoopsies, hit the wrong thing, for any of the ones that are specifically on food. So I'm going to do edit multiple. And let's grab this Kroger one. And this Buffalo Wild Wings. And I'll just do those two just for demonstration purposes. And then I'll go and add another tag for travel food and save it. Apply to all two. And now if I wanted to go and see how much did I spend specifically on this New Mexico road trip, I could go over here to reports. I could do a filter. I could select tags. And I could select this New Mexico road trip and apply it, and it'll show me what did I spend on the New Mexico road trip for all the different categories, for travel and lifestyle, or travel and vacation rather, for the groceries, for the restaurants, and for the gas. So if you like to see the breakdown, then you might keep things in their original categories in order to see how much you spent on those things, but then add a tag so you can still filter and run reports. Now, reports is something that is only available on the computer. You're not going to be able to do that on your phone, but you can come to the computer to run reports for the different tags. So that's one way to do it, is to keep all of the transactions as their original category, restaurants or groceries or whatever it is, and then just to add tags and then be able to run reports to see that. Personally, that's not my favorite way because I don't want my restaurant spending to look like it was $1,000 more than it normally is because I went on vacation. I want to get a more accurate view on what did we spend on restaurants throughout the year, last year, or throughout last month. And so for me, those restaurants and any other spending is going to go into that one travel and vacation bucket. But again, I know that doesn't work for everyone. So this is another option. Another option is you might create specific budget categories for traveling. So I'm going to come over to the budget because I've already added these just to show you. So I created 3. I think most can fit into these 3. Obviously you can add more, but whenever it comes to creating categories, you want to keep it as simple as possible. I think that's the best thing to do, is to not overwhelm yourself, is to keep as few categories as you can so that it's not overwhelming inside of here. But what I've done here is I've created a travel one for lodging and transportation. So that's going to be for any sleeping that you pay for, any car rental, any airfare, all of that is going to go into that one. And then the travel food for any grocery spending, any restaurant spending that you purchase when you are traveling. And then travel entertainment, that's going to be for any activities that you do when you're traveling, any shopping that you do, any souvenirs that you buy, that would go under travel entertainment. I think of it in these 3 categories because if I were home, I would not be doing this shopping that I was doing. Now, if you do just regular old shopping when you are out on your vacation, let's say you go shopping for some clothes, then I'd probably keep those in the general shopping category or general clothing category, whichever one you typically use, versus putting it into travel, because that's normal spending. You just happen to do it while you were on vacation. But if you want to specifically create categories for travel, then these are 3 that you might do: the lodging and transportation, the food, and the entertainment. So I'll come back over here to show you what that would look like. So then instead of this Airbnb being under travel and vacation, it would go under the travel, lodging, and transportation. Instead of this groceries one having these tags on it, I would change it from groceries to travel food. Same thing for the Kroger groceries one, same thing for the restaurants that we go out to. I would change those to the specific category that is assigned for travel food or travel lodging and transportation or the travel entertainment one. So that's another way to do it, is to create specific categories for travel. And then the third and final way is really the way that I do it, which I've already talked about. Don't really need to show that, but I will quickly come and show you. So in my case, I would take all of these transactions. I would hit edit multiple to make it easy, because I know all of mine are going to that one travel and vacation. So then I would select all of the ones that I know were from when we were traveling, and then I would just edit however many they are and change them up here to the category of travel and vacation. And then if I wanted to add tags to show that it was specifically for a certain trip, then I would do that. It's not something that I do, but it may be something you're interested in. And then I would just save that. Okay, so those are a couple of different ways that you can organize your travel expenses inside of Monarch Money. How do you do it inside Monarch Money? Do you use any of these methods? Do you put it all into one category? Do you have custom travel and vacation categories? Or do you use tags and you leave them in the original categories? Or do you do something else? Share in the comments below. I'm sure it'll be helpful for other people to know what other people do when it comes to their travel and vacation, and you should pick and choose the one that works the best for you. All right, I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed this, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you in the next one.